Hello everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel. This is Diane at Pretty Pink Cottage, and I'm going to continue probably the last episode of this series of beginners journals, Making Journals 101. And I have 5 journals in the works. This is the one we're concentrating on for this video. Hopefully you are following along. And today I'm just going to do some embellishing. We cut the pages and put them together with their cover, which is just a cardstock cover. We didn't do any sewing or stamping, no die cuts, and I used scrapbook paper and book pages and a little bit of trim because these are things that are easily found and they don't have to be vintage. So we did make some pockets after we did the initial, sewing the signature together. I showed you that in the first video. In the second video where I did the pockets, I also showed you how to do the 5-hole pamphlet stitch to do this longer journal. The other ones have a 3-hole stitch. So today we are going to focus on the tags, inserts, and embellishments, if we can get to all of that today. I haven't done much. I was going to try to keep up with all of these journals, but I kind of took a break this weekend. I was still busy, but I took a break from all of this for a few days, and today's Monday, I had some visiting to do, and I hope the rest of the week I can pretty much spend in here. So I'm just going to jump right in because it's afternoon now. So I did do some work in this journal. I just wanted to show you different sizes and materials you can use to create these easy journals. You can go back and watch the first video. There is a playlist on my channel that is called, I don't remember now what I titled it, but Journal Making for Beginners, I think it's called. So you'll see all the videos in there. And I think, no, we didn't decorate these pockets on the video. But I want to kind of look at what I did in here, and I did some in this one so that we can replicate it in this journal that we're doing together. I was trying to come up with ideas that were easy, simple and minimal supplies. I have a little note here of embellishments that I wanted to do. Okay, yep, that's a good reminder for me. Alright, so first of all, let's do some tags to go in the pockets. So I just cut this tag out of file folder, and it measures 2.5 by 6 3/4. I am not going to assume that you have any corner rounding punches, so instead of just rounding the corners, I'm going to cut a tag shape. So what I do is I just have my rectangle piece and I just cut an angle. And then I always pick up my piece and line it up to make sure I have it the right way, because if I flipped it around, it's going to be wonky if I do it over there. So I hold it up there. That's the piece that was cut off, just like that. So I flip it over and try to hold it in place. This is a very scientific approach. And then cut the same angle. Some people use old credit cards and cut the corners on the credit cards and then hold the cards up. I just figure that's one more thing I would have to keep track of, so I just do it this way. Now, we could do many things to decorate this without stamps and paints and things, or inks. I'm not using a lot of inks in this project. We could use scrapbook paper to cover it. We could use book page to cover it, which is what I think I'm going to do with this one. So I do have some pages. These are dictionary book pages. So whatever books you have that you can cut up and use the text pages. I like them with the small text. If you have old piano music books, you could do that too. So I'm just going to rub some glue stick all over this tag. You could even use a book page that has illustrations on it. Just whatever you have. If you do happen to have wrapping paper or wallpaper or stamps, you know, you could decorate your tag any way you want to. And I'll just lay this down on my paper, my book page. And I usually use this, or you can take a bone folder or something that you can, even a credit card, can just press it down, and it helps press the paper, this paper down into the glue. And then of course, trim around it. I will be using some elements in this video that are a little bit extra, but still not too much. Like I said, I'm using minimal supplies. So I'll show you them. As soon as I get this card cut out, I will show you the extra supplies that I gathered for doing this stage. And then you can just use whatever you have. If you don't have any of these supplies, I'm sure you have book pages, or you can get children's books. You know, go to yard sales and stuff like that to find, if you have a thrift store nearby, you can get lots of children's books, and they have lots of fun illustrations, or botanical books. So what I've gathered here are some ephemera pieces. These you can get, I got both of these at Hobby Lobby, and they were on sale when I got them. And this I got from Amazon. They're just some ladies and children in different sizes. And these were pretty inexpensive. So you can get supplies like this for not too much money. If you don't have a printer, this is a good way to get ephemera. And I still have some of my book illustrations here. I have recipe cards. I think I showed them to you the last time. Recipe cards and index cards. I even have a coin envelope. You can buy them pretty cheaply at the store. And I have some flashcards. I also have some playing cards and game cards. You can buy these at thrift stores. So I think that I will use some of those ephemera pieces in this. If you have scrapbook paper, which I think most people that are doing paper crafts have some sorts of scrapbook papers. You can always cut them up for ephemera too, and to embellish things. So this was taken from a book page, a botanical book, and I just glued that on top of the dictionary piece. And I did round the corners on this one. So let's see what I have in my book images to go in this book. Make time for your art. Now I'm not trying to go with a theme. I think this would be fun to just add to it, but it doesn't really go with the colors. Maybe on this page it would. I'll tuck that in there. Maybe we'll use it over here. But I have this little girl that I cut from a collector's book about collecting china. She's cute. And maybe I'll add a flower to her. So let's look at the ephemera pieces. Something not too big. No, I don't like that. Dream, I could just add a word there. These are big. There's a few different ephemera kits in here. You can see the different styles. I think I'll just use the word dream. I like that. And if you do have ink, I did mention some of the supplies that I would get if I would advise a beginning junk journal maker to get, like the Tim Holtz Vintage Photo Distress ink or oxide ink. And I would get corner rounders, and I don't remember what else I said now. Hole punch, to punch a hole in your tag. But that's just standard office supply. You might already have that. And you can get reinforcements for when you make the hole, but I'm going to show you something different right now. So you don't have to have hole reinforcements. You are going to want something to reinforce the hole, because this seems like sturdy file folder, but it's very easy to, when you pull on the ribbon that you tie through, it's easy to pull it right through. So I'm just going to take a little scrap of scrapbook paper that matches this. Let me plug up this hole first. That would be good. Just going to cut that into a small piece. Okay. And fold it so that it's the size you want it to be going over the edge. That's a little bit bigger than I want. I don't cut things very straight, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. And then you can punch a hole in that, and it helps reinforce it. And then it has a decorative reinforcement piece there. And it's something different. I mean, you can buy reinforcement hole reinforcements at any office supply store or Walmart, and they're not expensive. But this is something different. Sometimes I take my corner rounder and round the corners of this piece. And then I mentioned the ink, vintage photo ink, because I want to put this around the edge. And of course you don't have to do this. And it doesn't have to be distress ink either. You could just use some inexpensive ink from the children's craft supplies. Because we're not stamping with it or doing any techniques with it. We're just putting some color on the edges. So that's a simple tag that didn't take a lot of supplies. You can leave it just like that, or you can go ahead and put your hole in it and add some twine or ribbon. Those supplies are also inexpensive. But let's move on. I want to have time to do some other things. Let's talk about an embellishment on a page before we move on to the next pocket. So this is pretty plain right here. And I did some page embellishments with, oh, sorry, this book. This is kind of turning into a masculine looking book. This was Tim Holtz paper here. And then I had these scraps from other Tim Holtz paper that I had collaged on the cover. And then I had all these images from children's books that were pictures of men with their families or men at their jobs or whatever. So that's what I used to embellish this. And then on a particular page, as soon as I find it, I just glued 2 pages actually. Here's one, just that little guy. Just glued him right to the page. Where's the other guy? Oh, there's one. It's not what I was thinking of, but a man and his family. So just adding little elements from book pages. Well, we'll flip through this. Oh, here he is. I see him. I see the back of him right there. There he is. Just gluing an element cut from a book will embellish your page. But I wanted to make something, so I'm going to get my book pages again, my book text. I had something here. No, that's okay. I don't know where it is. So let's just get some more of this book text. These are dictionary books, like pages, like I said. I want something that's not too fragile. This paper seems good. And I want to cut some banners. So I'm going to take, these are thin pages. I'm going to take a couple pages and see if my paper trimmer will cut them without tearing them. I want to trim off the margin. Oh yeah, cuts it nicely. Now let's do about 1.5 inches. And then 1 inch. And you can do this with scrapbook paper also. Just cut off that margin piece again. And just cut 2 different lengths. Well, that's the thinner one. So, oops, I'm going to cut up here. I think I'll cut the fatter one a little bit longer, and I can trim them. I'd rather cut them too long than too short. And there's 2 of them here, so I'm making 2 at once. I'll separate them. I want this one to be a little bit shorter. And I think what I might do is cut some scrapbook paper and have 1 text and 1 scrapbook paper for each of these banners. Then you can just take the bottom of it, and you can do it 2 ways. The first way is to just cut in the middle up a small amount, and then cut from the corner to where your cut ended, and then do the same thing on this side. But I think that's uneven. I think an easier way to get it even is to just don't crease it, but lightly bend it. And then you want the points on the outside and the upper part on the fold, and then just cut like that. As long as your corners are lined up, you're going to get an even cut. Let's try this one. because I did not cut that even at all. So now I have banners. So I would ink around those and then stagger them, and then probably add something, a circle or a lace or something at the top. But I'm going to get a piece of scrapbook paper so I can have a little bit more color on it. This is actually from a children's book, and I liked the illustration, so I'm going to try to use that. I think I want the small piece on top, so this will be 1 inch. Of course, you can get stickers at the Dollar Tree and stuff like that that you could use to embellish your pages. Or you could leave them plain. Each step of this process that I'm showing you is an extra, in addition to the first video where we just cut the papers and then folded them and sewed them together. That was a complete journal, and that you don't need to do any more than that if that's all you want to do. So that looks cute like that. I am going to ink around the edges. Also, you don't have to do that. Oh, I was pretty heavy-handed on that one. This is a stiffer paper, so I can do it like this. Now, what do I want to add to the top of this? I don't want to do paper punches. I have this little piece that was part of the embellishment pack. There were some little flowers in here. You just do something like that, and a flower ephemera piece, or you could just put a little piece of lace across it. Let me show you that. These are the little spools of lace I get at Hobby Lobby. The price did go up on them, and the length of ribbon or lace that you get went down, so that's pretty discouraging. But that looks pretty just like that. So let's just do that. I did like it with the flower, though. I may be adding more to these before I put them in my shop. Things that aren't going to be a part of this simple video. But I don't know. I might be happy with them just the way they are by the time we're done doing our embellishments. This book is already sewn together. And I want to show you one more embellishment you can make with paper scraps before we go on to fill the next pocket. So I'm going to look for a page that needs an embellishment. So this is on the front half of the book, so I'm going to look at the back half of the book and maybe put something right there. So I'm gonna find another scrapbook paper that has a small pattern. Something like that. Well, the pattern is big, but there's color all over it. Now that, you could fussy cut out these doily pieces. Okay, now I have heart punches in 2 sizes, but we're not using paper punches for this, so we are going to make hearts just by cutting them. Just like in grade school. I'm going to fold this over so the back is facing out and we can draw on it. So just like in grade school, start here and then go up and around and down. And you don't know how wonky your heart is till you cut it out. I tend to make them with the long skinny thing here, and I want them plumper, so I'm going to make it bigger. And you can do things like at the bottom extend it down a little bit to make it a sharper point. Let's cut that out and see what we have. For the other one I did, it's actually glued into a book, I think, one of these books. I didn't draw it, I just cut it, and it turned out good. There, that's a cute heart. But you could layer it too, so I could take this little polka dot paper and just make sure that the heart is cut smaller. So I'm going to draw around the heart that I have here and then cut inside the line. So it will still have the same shape, and it will be smaller. Not small enough. There. And since we folded it in the middle, you could adhere it just along the fold so that the sides are loose, but I'm just going to glue it down. And I wondered about cutting out one of these doilies to put behind the heart. Let's just cut it out and see if we like it. Or maybe just half a doily. And I'm not going to cut around each and every little scallop. Just the big ones. So if you look at your scrapbook paper and your book pages, you might find all kinds of things you can cut out. Yeah, that looks cute. I don't want to get glue on that back cover. I'll glue these two pieces together. just some extra glue there. And that is a pretty little embellishment on that page. I don't use buttons a lot on the insides of my journals, but you could certainly add buttons. They are inexpensive. If you're, well, relatively inexpensive, but you know, the price of everything has gone up. But if you're just buying new buttons, you can buy bags of multicolored buttons in the sewing and craft departments at Hobby Lobby and Walmart. So that's 2 embellishments and a tag. She's pretty cute. Let's see what other pockets we need to fill. Okay, this one has an index card. It's a colored index card with no lines on it, so it just makes a nice journaling card. I am going to round the corners on this because I do have a corner rounder. And I don't know how much they cost. I haven't bought one in years. I've had this one for a really long time. I also have the crocodile one, but that's not necessary. It cuts through thicker layers. And I think I will just add the sun to this, and then you can journal on this and this. There's a boy laying in bed with his candle burnt out, snuffed out, looks like. But maybe now it's time to rise and shine. You can buy paper doilies pretty inexpensively, and you can even buy them in colors, or you could dye them. Food coloring makes a great dye for your papers. Now this is the center and it's very plain, so I feel like I need to do something here. So I think I'll take a flashcard, and I'm going to get one in a prettier color. I got these flashcards at a thrift store, and I like the size of them. I think I'll use the green. Actually, I think I'll use 2 of them. Put them one on each side. Oops, I put the glue on the wrong edge. Oh, where's my wet wipes? Here they are. Then we can tuck something fun in the pockets. Children's book illustration. Oh, there's an index card. Children's book illustrations are fun to tuck in the pockets as well as use in other ways. I love them. I use them a lot. I'm looking for something that could be a nice card shape. There's the old woman in the shoe. I'd have to trim it a little bit. These are very narrow pages. There's a little girl with her doll. I'd have to trim that a little bit. But I'm going to leave them here in the center. I will glue them to copy dyed or just some kind of a dyed paper. Might be colored dyed. And then trim them to fit in those pockets and they'll be all set. We've got a few more minutes. So let's look for some illustrations that we can decorate the page with. This one is from Botanical Books. It says flowers, etc. book pages. So it probably means flowers and leaves and trees and growing things. So I would recommend looking for children's books and botanical books and even magazines with birds and flowers and things like that. And at thrift stores and yard sales, and then cutting them up and storing the pieces where you can find them and use them. This is really pretty. So you could fussy cut around that, or you can cut it into a shape and glue it to your page. These are small pages, so I don't want to take up too much space because you need space for journaling. So I'm just going to kind of loosely cut around it. The background of the piece is white and the page is white, so it should be okay. So this is what chicory looks like. I didn't know that. Sorry, I'm out of camera and I'm quiet, so you're just staring at my table and hearing nothing. This was probably a bad one to choose because it's got some fussy cutting going on here. Gotten looser with my fussy cutting. Okay, but it was worth it. Look how pretty that is. And we have the game cards and playing cards we can do something with. You could cut words out of books, especially children's books because they have larger text, and add them to your pages. Postage stamps make great embellishments. Okay, where are my playing cards? I think I'd like to just take this cute little kitty, and I do like to add them to the flaps if I have something folded in, but This one is very close to the edge, but what I could do is glue it here, because you'll still have room to write on it, on all these other sides, and make it a little pocket. Then you can tuck something else fun inside that pocket. Let's do one on the other side too. And I'll use this pretty rose. Okay, let's take a quick look. We have a few minutes. I'll just do a quick flip through. Do I have another pocket to fill? I have this card, but I think I like it as a backdrop for him. So I'm just going to cut the corners, round the corners, and leave it plain. And it can be journaled on. I could put a pull tab on it with lace or fabric or paper. Or even just a flower shape. Let's see, maybe that little shape right there. I don't know where the one is, the piece is that I already started cutting. Here it is. Oh. My scissors slipped and kind of flattened that piece out, but I'm just going to glue it right there. And that's a little pull tab, and the back of it is just white, but you could ink it if you want to. Or you could cut another one out and glue it to the back. Well, I glued the whole thing. So, wasn't thinking. Probably have to trim it up to make it all even once they're glued together. Well, it doesn't look bad from that side. Yeah, I have to trim it a little bit over here when the glue dries because there's some white sticking out, but that makes a fun little pull tab there. Okay, any other pockets? Yeah, this one. I could just put a recipe card in there. I have to trim it a little. You can clip things to the pages. I'm just going to trim all the white off. So if I wanted to use a coin envelope, I could decorate the coin envelope with the book page images or something, and then just clip it to one of the pages, put a paper clip on it, and then I would have something inside there for journaling. This is a vintage one, but you can buy coin envelopes, I think at Walmart, I'm not sure. I know Staples has them, but I think you have to buy a big box. Let's take a look, see where we're at. I'll put some kind of a label here for the name to go on. There's a banner, so I would probably want to put another banner somewhere in the back half of the book. And I'll probably add some more book page illustrations. Look, these are ready-made banners. These illustrations might be too big for this little book. And we can put something in the pocket here. I'm going to look for a coin envelope. I have these little white envelopes. Maybe I'll just use this. Well, I can embellish this with something. Scrapbook paper maybe, and just clip it to the edge of the page and put a little decoration there. There's 2 of those pages in here. I don't think I meant for that to happen, but that's okay. And I'll finish these up. I'm just so used to adding so much stuff to the journals, but it's okay to have one that's more plain and more made for writing. And another embellishment there. Yeah, it's looking good. So I think I have, well, I'm out of time, but I'm going to quickly flip through, see what I may have done in these other journals so you can see. Here's my other one. Here she is. Okay, here's this one. Just did that, which you just saw. I didn't add any of the embellishments to the pages yet, I don't think. And I just added a strip of math book text, children's math book text to that index card. Oh, there is one with a cutout heart. And I just used a square of scrapbook paper behind it. And there's that long pocket. I added that. I don't know if I did that before. But I just took a lined pink paper and folded it up and put it in there, so there's plenty of journaling space there. So I could add another pocket down the side here with another page. I may do that. So I still have quite a bit of embellishing to do in these. This pocket we did in the other video, and these are just cut from scrapbook paper. This one, I think this came from a little tablet, and this was a pack of journaling cards from the scrapbook store. I actually got those at a flea market though. Project Life cards. So there's that one. We looked through most of this, but I really like the way this tag turned out. This is a wider book, so I could put bigger pieces of ephemera in it. This is the back of this ruler paper with the grid. I just cut a piece of it and put it on there. Children's book page with a coffee dyed page behind it for journaling. Again, children's book page and scrapbook paper cutoffs. This one just has a couple scraps of scrapbook paper cut into different shapes that I stapled on. Another children's book page. And I added just a strip of scrapbook paper as a pull tab there, and that one's just plain so far. This one, I was going to glue this on as an embellishment with writing paper behind it like I did with this one, but I might make this into a pocket. And I showed you this guy already. This one was a father and a son raking leaves. This was a long piece. The man was over here, but I just cut it so that I could arrange it the way I needed to. And there's a salesman helping the little girl pick out a coat. And I will back that with paper. There's a guest check I tucked in there. You can also find those in Walmart and other stores like that. And this is a Tim Holtz paper. And I put a coin envelope in there, which I will embellish some. I don't think I've done anything in this one besides what we've already seen. Yeah, I haven't added anything else to this. Or this one. Oh wait, maybe I did on this one. This is a sticker. And that's a piece of file folder waiting to be decorated. I think I added that. That's one of the ephemera pieces. The store-bought ephemera pieces. It's a little pocket here. And on this, I didn't want to do anything to this pocket because it's pretty the way it is, but I added that butterfly embellishment. Okay, so I hope you got some ideas for some simple cards, tags, and page embellishments in this video. And I'm sorry I took so long with it, and I'll be back probably just to show you the finished flip through at this point. I just have to finish up adding into the pockets and adding some more embellishments. So I hope that this series has been very helpful to you, and I will be back to show you the finished journals. Thank you so much for watching, and have a creative day. Bye-bye.